The night felt ordinary until it wasn't. I was babysitting my sister's 12-year-old daughter. My own 6-year-old trailed behind her like a shadow. They were playing quietly in the living room when suddenly my son's small hands thrust a glowing phone into mine. "Dad, look at her phone!" His voice was sharp, too sharp for a child. I glanced down. One look at the screen, and my chest hollowed out. A message thread. Words I shouldn't have seen. Words that twisted something inside me, quiet and violent. Behind me, my niece's voice cracked. "The truth is—" She choked on the rest, her eyes wide, wet, terrified. That's when the air shifted. I didn't speak. I didn't move. I just stared at the phone, at the name in the messages, my wife's name, burning there like a brand. And the silence became heavier than any scream could ever be. The messages weren't innocent, not jokes, not family chatter. They were confessions, intimate, late-night exchanges my wife had with someone she shouldn't. A man. Not my brother, not a stranger, my sister's husband. I kept my face calm for the children, but inside, every word on that screen drilled into me, carving questions I already knew the answers to. How long? Why him? Why her? I'd always prided myself on reading people, yet in this house, under this roof, betrayal had been weaving itself into my bloodline like rot, and I hadn't smelled it until now. My niece cried harder. "Please, don't tell." That broke me in a way nothing else could, because her fear told me this wasn't new. She knew. She had carried their secret. A child should never carry that weight. I set the phone down carefully, like it might explode. My hands didn't tremble, my voice didn't rise, but something inside me had already shifted into silence, the kind that doesn't forgive. For days after, I became an observer in my own life. I said nothing to my wife, nothing to my sister. I simply watched, listened, counted the subtle mistakes they thought no one noticed. My wife stayed up late, smiling at her phone. My brother-in-law grew nervous when I entered a room. My sister's eyes darted too much. I moved with precision, calm. I copied messages, backed up files, called in favors at a lab. DNA, paternity, cold science to slice through the lies. Because one question festered deeper than all the rest. Was my son truly mine? Nights were the worst. I'd lie beside her, watching her breathe, while my mind played the words from that screen again and again. Each repetition carved me into something sharper, colder. I didn't rage, I calculated. Every lie leaves a trail, and I was patient enough to follow it to the end. The results came back on a Tuesday. Sealed envelope. Thin, unassuming. But when I broke it open, the ground inside me split. My son was mine. Relief cut through me, violent, raw. But it didn't erase the betrayal. It only sharpened it. Because the affair was still true. The messages were real. The lies were living things between us. That evening, I set the printed messages on the dining table. When she walked in, she froze. Her face drained as her eyes scanned the paper. "Where did—" I didn't answer. She stammered, shook, tried to explain. Tears welled. I sat still, calm. My silence louder than any accusation. And in that silence, she broke. The next day, I visited my sister's house. I didn't confront her directly. I didn't shout, didn't accuse. I simply placed the same printed pages in her kitchen, where her husband would see them first. By nightfall, their marriage detonated in whispers and slammed doors. My wife received message after message, begging, apologies, panic. She tried to reach me, but I was already gone, sleeping at a hotel with my son safe beside me. I didn't need to destroy her reputation. She would do that herself. Truth is the most merciless weapon when left to bleed in the open, and I made sure she bled. Weeks passed. My wife moved like a ghost, trying to repair what she'd shattered. My sister avoided my eyes, consumed by the ruins in her own home. I remained steady, unmoved. I hadn't shouted, I hadn't struck, I hadn't begged. I had simply held up the mirror and forced them to look at what stared back. And that was enough. Because betrayal doesn't need punishment. Betrayal punishes itself. I look at my son now, asleep in the back seat as I drive. My blood, my only truth. And as the road stretches ahead, I know one thing with brutal clarity. They may spend their lives choking on regret, but mine will remain clean, cold, untouchable. I walked away the moment I saw the screen, and I never looked back.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. Subscribe now to Cheating Stories Insight World for more amazing stories.